everyone, and welcome to another lesson. So, we are continuing the story of the Roman Empire. The last thing that we talked about was Julius Caesar. Do you remember how he died? So, he was stabbed almost like 23 to 24 times, and he was betrayed by two of his friends who were Cassius and Brutus. And Mark Antony at his funeral gave this very nice speech that moved the people. Now, after Julius Caesar died, the people of Rome started to fight together. There was no peace at all. Imagine that your leader dies and you are left without anything, and the people in position are all fighting to be in position and to be the most powerful ones. So everything was so it was a chaos. There were many problems. There started civil war. This wanted to be the next king, and this one wanted to be the next king. And so Julius Caesar had a sister, and this sister had a son named Octavian. Let us watch the story of Octavian, who is also known as Augustus. So before Augustus became the first emperor of Rome, his name was Octavian. When he became the first emperor of Rome, they changed his name to Augustus. And by the way, very fun or interesting information is that we have his name in our calendar today, August, the month of August. And we have Julius as well, who is July. So they were the first ones who actually started creating the calendar. So let's watch the story of Augustus. So by the way, in this video, or ever in life, when you hear the name Octavian or Augustus, they are the same people. So again, I repeat, his name was Octavian before becoming the first emperor of Rome. So remember, Julius Caesar was the last king of Rome. He was trying to become the emperor, and he was killed. Remember that they had two consuls who were the top powerful people in Rome. And so after Julius Caesar died, Augustus was actually the first Roman emperor. Let's watch the story of Augustus. By the way, I will also be sending you different videos, because in a very short video I cannot show you many other interesting information. So please, when I send you links, you have to watch them before you do your homework.
His reign marked the beginning of one of history's greatest empires and the end of one of its first republics. Was Rome's first emperor a visionary leader who guaranteed his civilization's place in history, or a tyrant who destroyed its core values? Find out in History versus Augustus. Order. The defendant today is Gaius Octavius? Gaius Julius Caesar. Do we have the wrong guy? No.
Okay guys, so I found this very cool video on YouTube. So this is actually, they changed it and they are playing with the video. They're acting like they are in court, بالمحكمة, okay? And they are talking about Octavian or Augustus, the same person. So forget about being in court, just focus on the story.
No, Your Honor. Gaius Octavius, born in 63 BCE, was the grandnephew of Julius Caesar. He became Gaius Julius Caesar upon being named his great-uncle's adoptive son and heir, and he gained the title Augustus in 27 BCE, when the Senate granted him additional honors. You mean when he established sole authority and became Emperor of Rome? Is that bad? Didn't every place have some king or emperor back then? Actually, Your Honor, the Roman people had overthrown their kings centuries before to establish a republic, a government meant to serve the people, not the privilege of a ruling family, and it was Octavius who destroyed this tradition. Octavius was a model public servant. At 16, he was elected to the College of Pontiffs that supervised religious worship. He fought for Rome in Hispania alongside his great-uncle Caesar. and took up the responsibility of avenging Caesar's death when the corrupt oligarchs in the Senate betrayed and murdered him.
Okay, so in this court there is one person who is with Octavian and one who is against. Just like we do now in today's court, there is one person with the person and a lawyer against it. So remember that Octavian was a very, very educated man. He was very young. He was like 16 or 17, but he was very educated because Caesar used to take him to school. He sent him to go and study. And he used to speak, by the way, Latin and Greek. These were the languages of Rome back then. And when Julius Caesar died, I will show you another video. Yeah, I will send you another video where you will actually watch details because it's a longer one, so I can't put it here. And so when Julius Caesar died and Octavian knew about it, Octavian put in his mind that khalas, I want to go and I want to take the place of Caesar, because Caesar actually, before he died, Julius Caesar, he actually wrote on a paper that Octavian was his son, and he was actually not his son, but because he loved him so much, he was the son of his sister, remember? Because he loved him so much, he really wanted him to be the next one in line. So he wanted to be the heir. Heir is like the next one in line to be the emperor.
Caesar had been a power-hungry tyrant who tried to make himself a king while consorting with his Egyptian queen Cleopatra. After his death, Octavius joined his general Mark Antony in starting a civil war that tore Rome apart, then stabbed his ally in the back to increase his power. Antony was a fool. He waged a disastrous campaign in Parthia and plotted to turn Roman territories into personal kingdoms for himself and Cleopatra. Isn't that what Caesar had been accused of? Well, so Octavius destroyed Antony for trying to become a king and then became one himself? That's right. You can see the megalomania even in his adopted title, the illustrious one. That was a religious honorific. And Augustus didn't seek power for his own sake. As winner of the Civil War and commander of the most troops, it was his duty to restore law and order to Rome so that other factions didn't continue fighting. He didn't restore the law, he made it subordinate to him. Not true. Augustus worked to restore the Senate's prestige, improved food security for the lower classes, and relinquished control of the army when he resigned his consul post.
So remember, after Julius Caesar died, the people were very poor. They barely had food or water. They were not educated. There were a lot of problems. So actually, Octavian really did a good job.
Mere optics. He used his military influence and personal wealth to stack the Senate in his favor, while retaining the powers of a tribune and the right to celebrate military triumphs. He kept control of provinces with the most legions, and if that wasn't enough, he assumed the consul position twice more to promote his grandchildren. He was clearly trying to establish a dynasty. But what did he do with all that power? Glad you asked, Yana.
Okay, guys, let's just focus on what this guy is saying, okay? Because the other one is against him.
Augustus's accomplishments were almost too many to name. He established consistent taxation for all provinces, ending private exploitation by local tax officials.
So at that time, people were not paying their taxes. Taxes يعني ضرايب. Okay, he actually created taxes.
He personally financed a network of roads and employed
couriers so
news and troops could travel easily throughout the realm. And it was under Augustus that many of Rome's famous public buildings were constructed. The writers of the time were nearly unanimous in praising his rule. Did the writers have any other choice?
And the people
Augustus
really
loved
him.
people on vague charges, including Ovid, one of Rome's greatest poets. And you forgot to mention the intrusive laws regarding citizens' personal lives, punishing adultery, restricting marriage between social classes, even penalties for remaining unmarried. He was trying to improve the citizenry and instill discipline, and he succeeded. His legacy speaks for itself. 40 years of internal stability, a professional army that expanded Rome's frontiers in all directions, and a government still remembered as a model of civic virtue. His legacy was an empire that would go on to wage endless conquest until it collapsed, and a tradition of military autocracy. And time a dictator in a general's uniform commits atrocities while claiming to act on behalf of the people, we have Augustus Caesar to thank. So you're saying Augustus was a good emperor, and you're saying there's no such thing? We're used to celebrating historical leaders for their achievements and victories, but to ask whether an individual should have such power in the first place is to put history itself.
Okay, we don't care about what they said at the end. Okay, so your homework will be Augustus Caesar. Let's read it together. Hopefully I have time before this video ends. The real name of Augustus Caesar was Gaius Octavius Thurinus. When Augustus was born in 63 BC before Christ, Rome was still a republic. His father was the governor of Macedonia and his mother was Julius Caesar's niece. When his father died, Octavian was raised by his grandmother, Julius Caesar's sister. As a young man, Octavian began to engage in Roman politics and eventually joined his uncle Julius Caesar in battle. So Julius Caesar was actually taking him with him to battle, to war, so he can learn. Julius was impressed with Octavian. Impressed, it means very happy, pleased. And as he had no children of his own, Julius proclaimed Octavian to be his heir. His heir, it means his next person in line to take the possession of the empire. After Julius was assassinated, what is the meaning of assassinated? Killed. The Roman Senate and the military both supported Octavian. He became very powerful in the city and was elected as consul, the highest ranking position in the Roman Republic. Meanwhile, who was against him? Mark Antony wished to replace Julius as a dictator. He and Octavian struggled until they arrived at a truce. A truce, it means how to explain this? Like a friendship together or an agreement, اتفاقية. Along with another powerful Roman named Lepidus, they ruled together for a time in what is known as the Senate Triumvirate. So the same like we studied in the first lessons. They were 3 people in charge. So Lepidus, Octavian, and Mark Antony. But the 3 men soon began to wield their armies against one another in a fight over power. So obviously when you have 3 people who are very, very powerful and each one of them has an army, of course they will start having problems together so they can see who is the strongest. Lepidus was defeated first, so Lepidus was out. Then at the Battle of Actium, we have to know the name, the Battle of Actium, Octavian's troops, it means the army, defeated the armies of Antony and his ally. So, defeated, it means they conquered, they won over. So, who won here? Octavian won, and who was destroyed or who lost? It was Mark Antony. The Egyptian queen of Cleopatra. So remember, Antony and Cleopatra were together. Cleopatra was the queen of Egypt. I will send you some videos and you will see that. Antony and Cleopatra committed suicide. What is suicide? Intihar. They killed themselves, leaving Octavian the most powerful man in Rome. The Senate gave him the title of Augustus. So remember, before he became the Senate or the emperor, his name was Octavian. When he became the emperor, they changed his name to Augustus in 27 BC. Though the Senate and the other officials from the Republic still existed as emperor, Augustus had supreme power. However, he referred to himself as the first citizen. Citizen, it means muwatin. The first citizen of the Roman Empire, because at that time he changed the Roman Republic to the Roman Empire. Many years of civil war followed, but Augustus eventually ushered in a peace called the Pax Romana. Very, very important name. So actually Rome for the first time had peace that would last for 200 years. He built roads, buildings, bridges, and government buildings. He made Rome's army stronger and conquered many countries around the Mediterranean Sea. Augustus died still in power in 14 AD.